You're a mum, you're a mum, you're a busy mum. Come listen to the Busy Mum podcast. Life hacks and inspiration for the busy modern mum.
Our latest sponsor for the Busy Mum podcast is Amelia from Wonder Birthing. Wonder Birthing supports pregnant women and their partners on their exciting journey into early parenthood. Some of their offerings include birth education courses, including hypnobirthing, relaxation, and birth partner preparation for all those dads out there. Amelia also offers doula support during pregnancy, birth, and postnatal periods. So if you need this, please contact Amelia on 04 98 57 8601 or visit her website at www.wonderbirthing.com.au. Now let's dive into the latest interview on the Busy Mum podcast. Well, Kristen, welcome to the Busy Mum podcast. How are you this afternoon?
Oh, I'm great. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you for saying yes. I always get excited when new people come and say, yes, I'll be in your podcast. I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. But then you then meet them and then all the knowledge that's passed on. It's so nice. So just tell my audience what you do in your business and how you define yourself and a little bit about your family.
Okay, well, I am a freelance writer. I guess a lot of people would say a copywriter, and that's absolutely fine. I do write copy a lot, but I call myself a freelance writer because I do dabble on the creative side of things, doing some ghostwriting as well. So I just like to keep it a little bit broad. Mm-hmm. But that being said, I guess my bread and butter work is sort of LinkedIn articles and blog posts and website content and all those kinds of things that you need for your business. All the words that you need for your business is the kind of thing that I do. So I really love it. My background is that I grew up in the States and I have a degree in English literature. So my first degree is as basically a writer. Mm-hmm. And but then I went to law school and I became a lawyer and I was working at a big Wall Street firm, and that was great. It was great, but it wasn't really a great life for a family.
No, not at all.
No. So I was working pretty much all the hours that you could possibly work and making a lot of money and having a lot of fun and going to a lot of great restaurants and buying amazing shoes. But eventually it just didn't have any longevity. So I decided to return back to my roots. And that's when I started writing for work. And I love it.
Okay. Yeah. That's a mission. Like, that's like you never really take the one path to what you end up doing.
I know.
You take the longest route possible.
I know. And especially because I'm a Californian. I grew up in California, and yet here I am now living in Brisbane, married to a rocky boy, with 3 kids. It's completely 180 from where I thought I would be, but it's great. I love it. I love it here, and I love Australia. Yay!
Australia is pretty good, especially when you start traveling around. Like, there are other amazing countries, yes, but I think Australia as a whole is a very good place to raise a family.
It is.
Yeah, maybe not Sydney in a West, but because it's so expensive.
We've lived in Glebe and Kirribilli, and so we know.
I know. It's like, but it's hard to get out because, like, it's just so lovely. Like, you just kind of don't really want to give it up.
It's beautiful there. I still miss when we were first married, my husband and I, we lived in this garden apartment in Kirribilli. Now, we were both working full time as lawyers. So, so it's a different world, but we had this gorgeous apartment and I just thought, I never want to leave here. But, kids, dogs, mortgages.
Yeah. Well, you got to do something that gives yourself meaning. And, like, if you're both working, like, you don't see each other that much unless you're working together. And then, like, you've got the nights. So, like, I don't know, there's some point in your life where you decide, no, this is not for me. So when exactly did you come back to being, like, a writer? Like, was it after you had your first child or before?
I guess I never really left. I always sort of wrote creatively, and obviously in the legal field, there's a lot of writing. Yeah. But creatively, I always kept writing short stories, and I belonged to writers groups, and I contributed to editing platforms and stuff. So I kept up with it, but as far as for work, it was after we moved to Brisbane, and I was pregnant with my first son, and I just needed something to do, really. So I started just taking on editing jobs. And then it sort of snowballed from there. I mean, it's really only been in the last year that I've really started to expand and take on a lot more work. But I've been doing it for probably the past 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, it's good.
And because you're writing like lots of blogs and website content you mentioned earlier and LinkedIn, can you talk to us more about, like, has the actual, like, requests from clients changed? Because I know everyone wants to be ranked number one on the front page of Google for whatever keywords. Do you have to change your style of writing for their purpose, or do you just write it how you like it, or how does that work? Because writing is it's like art, really. Like, some people will love it and some people won't love it. So
yeah. Well, that's a really good question. Everybody is really worried right now about how to get Google to see them. Yeah. How do I raise my profile so that when people search, Brisbane copywriter or something, I pop up there. That is a very niche sort of market. And there are people who are absolute experts at it. So Kate Toon, for example, she's an SEO expert. But all the content on your website plays into that. It depends on how you format your keywords, and you make sure you have long string keywords and short string keywords. So when I write, I happily take whatever keywords people need and make sure that they work within the blog post. But the thing is that Google and all the other search engines are very, very sophisticated. And if you are writing about something that your audience wants to know about, then they're going to find it, because what you're writing for is answering their question. So if you're writing something, say, about how to start a podcast, you might get on there and write an article. Here are 10 ways to start a podcast. And people who want to know, I'm a mom, I want to start a podcast for other moms, they would do a search, and you would probably pop up because you will have answered exactly what they wanted to know. So a lot of it is just about understanding your audience and what you're giving them.
Okay.
LinkedIn, though, or other things, like one of my clients publishes a column in one of the big newspapers. And so for him, it's more about being an expert. He's an expert on his subject. So what we do for him, it doesn't matter about that kind of stuff. It just matters that you are showing the world how important you are. That sounds wrong.
Your expertise in that area.
You're the expert. Here's how you can help them with some of their problems in that area. And so sometimes it doesn't matter about keywords or anything like that. In fact, most of the time I'd say it doesn't matter. It just matters that you are putting out in the world what they want.
So you're writing for this expert. They're not his actual words. Is that correct?
That's right.
Oh my
God. In that case, I'm acting as a ghostwriter. So his name. But the thing is that he is the expert. I am not an expert in his field. Even if I've done the research, even if I've written the article, I'm not the expert. I am just the expert at putting it into words, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. So, like, they give you a brief on, like, I need 800 words on, I don't know, something, and you go, yep, no worries, put it together, and he might then, or she might then read what you've written and add their 2 cents worth into that. Yeah. Is that right?
For sure. In fact, when I first started working with that particular client, in the beginning, he made a lot of changes to what I gave him because he wanted it to sound like him. And over time, we've got a lot closer. And one of the big challenges of being a copywriter is writing in the tone of voice of your clients. Yeah. Most of the time, it's not that hard because people want to either have they want to be like young and hip and millennial kind of language, or they want to be very professional or kind of classic in their writing. But others have a quite particular sense of style, and that sometimes can take a little while to sort of work out, but it always does in the end. So.
Okay. And are you ghostwriting books at all, or do you just stick to the under 1,000 word count type of columns?
I did recently ghostwrite a book. It was like a sort of a children's, a chapter book for kids. So it wasn't a big, it's about 5 chapters. Mm-hmm. No, 8 chapters, I think. And I do occasionally help. I have also ghostwritten another book, and I would happily do it again, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And, with kids, you basically have to accept that's your full-time job, and I'm not really wanting to do that at this stage.
Yeah, of course.
So, most of the time, those aren't projects I want to take on at the moment.
Yeah, and then it would lead me to another question. Why don't you write your own book and then publish it?
Well, I am actually writing my own book, but it's hard to find the time for your own stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to write a book. I got up to 20,000 words, and I was like, I kind of haven't written for 5 weeks now, and I'm like, oh, well, why is that?
20,000 words? That's an excellent accomplishment. Well done.
They're all rubbish.
You know what? A first draft is always rubbish. Oh. That's just a fact. You got it down, and that's the biggest thing. Editing will push you right over the edge, so I wouldn't worry about that. The first drafts I write are always crap.
Okay, excellent. So everyone out there, your first draft,
no,
you can always go get better. That's
yeah, exactly.
You can always get better. Okay, so we've we've gone through copywriting, ghostwriting, LinkedIn. So let's touch on LinkedIn. I'm finding that this is a bit of the new buzz craze at the moment within the professional world. It's like everything needs to go on LinkedIn. Can you talk to me more about LinkedIn? Like, what's your experience with it? And
well, the thing about LinkedIn is that it's really awesome if that's where your audience is. Mm-hmm. So if you are somebody who provides services to businesses, business people, I'm trying to even think, if you're
like B2Bs.
Yeah. So if you're offering that kind of work, or if you're just offering a service that appeals to professional people, like you're an accountant for middle sized companies rather than tiny mom and pops or something, it's a great place to go because professionals are on there. And, you'll get your IT companies and your accountants and your lawyers and bankers and all those people, they're there. So if that's your audience, it's great. If it's not your audience, it's a waste of time. So, your audience is probably are not all of them on LinkedIn.
No, they're not.
And, my audience is they're not all on LinkedIn either. So you just have to see, where you're going to add value to your own business with your writing. It doesn't make any sense to write a perfect, wonderful article explaining why your services are what everybody should offer and then put it on LinkedIn if nobody reading it wants your services. So,
Well, I always think I never read the articles on LinkedIn. So, it's a little bit foreign to me. I've got a LinkedIn profile and I've got, all my credentials up there. But, I still struggle with why. Why have I got this, And I don't put a lot of work into it, to be honest with you. It's kind of just, it just sits there, and then each podcast I do gets pushed out to the LinkedIn world, and that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good. It's good to have a presence in all of these places because it shows your legitimacy, I guess, for lack of a better word. If you have a presence on LinkedIn and you have a presence on social media and you have a website, then people who are looking for you will be able to find you. And they'll say, oh, look, she does this. And they'll be able to find how to reach you and what you're all about and get sort of brand recognition. And that's all great. But it doesn't pay to put your time into something if it's not generating you any, sort of follow back or,
Yeah, well, let's touch on that because I've seen a lot in socials about a lot of people spending time on socials and building up those likes and the followings, but are they actually doing anything for your business at the end of the day? Are they generating sales? Because sales and profit is generally why we're doing this.
Yeah, look, I mean, we can all have our passions in life. But
absolutely, but we got to pay bills too.
Yeah, exactly. So, I have a client who's a social media strategist, and she is awesome because she's always saying, don't do it if it's not getting you anywhere. So it is, if you have an Instagram profile that's got 15,000 followers, but not one of them is interested in engaging your services, it's a really pointless exercise, Yeah. But if you've got 100 followers and 25 of them are solid clients or good leads, then that's much better.
Absolutely.
So I think you spend time on it when you can see some benefits for it, or if you just like it.
and with that, there's always that social aspect. So like for me, I've got a couple of different Instagram accounts. One's personal, so only people that I actually physically know can be a friend on there. And then I've got the podcast one, and I was posting a lot on it, but now I just post when the episode comes out because I figure I'm actually spending a lot of time worrying about the 2 extra posts I was posting when it could be spent finding more guests or working on my website a bit more and those kinds of things. So I think first step is to identify, is this actually doing anything or is it just feeding my ego?
Yeah.
And then to do something about it or pair it right back. If you want to talk to someone, pick up the phone and have a conversation. It will make you feel so much better than a text conversation, I think, on socials.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what my client says. She says, if you're not generating leads from it, just don't worry about it. You do not have to do all of the things you think you do. You want to. You think, oh no, I've got to do LinkedIn. Oh no, I've got to do Instagram. Oh no, I've got to put it on Facebook and then link it to my personal Facebook or whatever.
I know. And then it gets filled up with all this junk shit that you're doing. Excuse my language. And then you got to go, okay, this is getting out of control. Pair it right back. Because one day you're going to wake up and go, why did I spend the last 5 years doing all that?
When it starts to impact your ability to service your clients, then it's pointless. Number one, we have to make sure that I do, because I'm a services business, I have to make sure that I am providing the service that my clients want, the best that I can.
Yeah.
And if I don't do that, there's no point in having a business because every person I work for will say, oh, her product was crap. I don't want her to write for me. And then my brand is shot. So I can put all the beautiful things up on Instagram. But if my brand awareness is crap, well.
Exactly. No, I totally get that. Okay, let's move on to the next question because there's quite a few loaded questions in there, really, wasn't there, about business, which was lovely. Just describe for us a day in the life of you. Do you have any tips or life hacks to help the mums out there get through?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I'm one of those crazy people that has their child at home with them.
Oh, God.
My tip is she does nap a lot. So I've got 3 kids, but 2 are at school and one is, and 2 boys and they're at school. And then one is home. She's 16 months old. She's lovely. I love her.
She'll be your bestie.
So I do a lot of my creative work early in the morning or when she naps. And that just suits me because my brain's fresh and it's morning. And then in the afternoon, I can do admin or do phone calls or whatnot. And then I do a lot of work at night as well, which is not ideal. But it's just for now. It's not going to be very long till she's at kindy and then and I'm not saying that you shouldn't put your kids in daycare. You absolutely should. I just never actually got around to doing it. So I should probably do that. But
when I moved over to Sydney from Perth, I wanted to look after my kids full time, and I did it for 6 months, and I was like, oh my God, why did I think that this would be a good idea? And my eldest never actually went to preschool. she just went straight into kindergarten, which here, like you can do 1 or 2 years of preschool and then it goes into kindy. But then my youngest daughter went to the full 2 years of preschool.
Yeah.
Because I was like, off you go.
Yeah. I do hire a babysitter. Like when I try to like schedule all my sort of in-person meetings and things like that on one day a week, and I'll have a babysitter come. So that's great. That helps me just really focus. Mm-hmm. But I guess, my biggest life hack is to just try to remember that you have a long time to work.
You do.
And it's so easy to get, especially if you have a type A personality like I do, you want to do everything and you want to be the best and you want to, you have the opportunity to do this great work and this great work and this great work, and you just want to do it all because you don't want to say no. But it's okay to take things slow, and it's okay to build up slowly, and it's okay to make sure you've got time for yourself and for your family and to balance all of that. That is the trickiest part, but if you can do it, someday your kids will be at school. Someday they will be out of the house, and then you can spend every waking moment, doing all the things.
Yeah, that you want to do.
And it's not, the other tip that I have is to try to remember that it's not life or death. Sometimes I'll have to have a hard conversation with a client or something, and I'll just have to sit myself down and say, it is not life or death. It is just,
I know,
a document.
But don't you reckon hard conversations are so emotionally exhausting?
Yes.
Like it takes prep beforehand, and then there's like the build up, and then there's the actual doing it, and then there's like the aftermath, and you're just like,
then there's the come down and the bottle of wine. Stand by. No.
Yeah. I hear ya.
Yeah. It is really hard. I think it's one of the hardest parts of being in business is to learn to have firm conversations.
Oh, I like that. Firm conversations. Yeah. I've only heard of hard conversations. That's another good word there. Firm conversations. This is solid. What's the best advice you've received?
So the best advice was actually from my husband when I first started sort of taking on some more serious work. Because prior to that, I was sort of working really with friends or friends of friends. And, I'd just be like, I just pay such and such or whatever. And here's my PayPal account. It was just really casual. But when I started taking on really serious work, I got a little panicky. And I was like, oh, no, I'm a worker again. I have to actually be a business person. And he was like, what do you have to lose? I thought, that's true. There's really, in my case, there wasn't a lot of capital startup or, it just had to take, and just give it a go. And so I thought, all right, I'm going to give it a go. The worst thing that's going to happen is I'll be crap and the people will be like, you suck. And then my ego will be shattered.
Oh, well, then that's the worst thing. That's what you've got to lose.
But that didn't happen, so everything's okay. And the other really good advice I got, so if anyone's listening and you're a writer, is to write short sentences. And I think that's really good. In business, especially in business writing, we tend to use this passive voice and write these long sentences. Indeed, if this is the situation you find yourself in, you should engage, blah, blah, blah. And nobody wants to read that. It is boring. So even with your business writing, this short, punchy, to the point is much better.
And do you find when I first started writing, it was very clinical, and I was like, why? I don't sound like this in person. Why am I writing like this?
I think it's just, it takes a real leap of faith to start putting your personality into your writing. That's why writing your own stuff, I think, is much harder than writing for someone else. Because when you're writing for someone else, it's their sort of stuff's on the line. So
you could put someone else's name to it. You're like Barley's, sorry.
Yeah. So you can feel really confident when you're doing someone else's work, because if they don't like it, they'll just say no. But
okay. No, I like that.
Yeah, you're putting your real emotions into that and your real personality. It's hard, it's just, but it does get a lot easier.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, practice. Practice makes perfect,
Practice.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
And where do you go to get your entertainment? Are you an avid Netflix watcher, or do you read more books or podcasts, YouTube?
Well, I read books every day. I love to read, and my kids love to read, and it's most afternoons after school, you can come home and find us out on the deck, all of us sprawled out on the big couch just reading.
Oh.
It's really nice, but I also love Netflix. Actually, I like TV. I like crime TV, but I also really like sort of lighthearted comedy. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine's one of my faves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything to sort of take you out of, I think, the dreariness of the regular day life. It's really good.
Awesome. Yeah, and you also mentioned like The Good Place and the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Like,
yeah, have you seen that?
Yeah, I have. I watched like the first season like back to back.
Oh, yeah.
She was funny.
The first
Weird.
season was excellent. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, but the rest of the seasons maybe aren't so good, but the first season, especially that intro, I think that intro with that song has to be the best ever made.
Yeah, it is pretty good. It's very catchy.
It's really good. Yeah. And with books, I pretty much just read whatever I can find. I read cookbooks, I read nonfiction, I read fiction, trashy fiction, classic fiction, just whatever.
Oh, cool. Well, see, I tend to just read stuff that's going to teach me something.
Yeah, but that's good.
Yeah, it is good. But then I think for me, reading is more of a chore than a pleasure, you know? So, and I think that's just been built into me because of school and stuff, so...
Yeah, but I agree. I keep having people say, "Oh, why don't you read this parenting book, or why don't you do this?" And I think, can't you just tell me what it says? I want to read. I don't really read instructional things. My husband does. He loves that stuff. But I'll read books about, like, I think I mentioned to you that I was recently reading Severed, a history on heads lost and heads found. Yeah, it was weird and bizarre and macabre, but it was really interesting and talked about war and the history of war and stuff. And I love that kind of thing, but I don't really like people preaching at me.
Yeah, but firstly, who would write a book like that? Like, it's my destiny to write a book on severed heads. No, thank you.
Maybe it would be.
God. Let's move on. Let's move on to a more lighthearted question. Like, what's your go-to dinner?
Oh, tacos. Anything tacos. The kids love tacos. We eat a lot of vegetarian tacos. My husband and I like, black bean or pumpkin or whatnot. But the kids just like straight beef or chicken. But have you seen on any of those ads for those dinosaur taco holders?
No, I don't have free-to-air TV.
Oh, no, it comes through on Facebook.
Does it? Oh, no.
Maybe you have to be a taco lover, but but we actually got those. And so the kids adore them. So now we have these, we like at least twice a week, we sit down to dinner with these dinosaurs in front of us with the tacos stuck out of them. It's hilarious.
Oh, my God. I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
Okay, and what is one area of your life you would like to improve?
I'll tell you honestly, my website needs a lot of work. If anyone's listening to this and they're a mom who wants to do some website work, give me a call. No, but I do need to. I'm one of those who's guilty of spending so much time doing my actual work that sometimes I don't keep up my own admin kind of stuff, like my own website. I mean, it's there. I keep it up, but I don't write a lot of blog posts for myself. I don't write a lot of LinkedIn articles. I don't have the time.
Yeah.
But really want to change that because I love to write and I want that to go out to my audience so they can see, that I love this, that it's something that I have a talent in maybe or whatnot. So that's one thing from the business side. And then from the personal side, I think like most of us, I just want to focus more on my own fitness and health, because I'm not getting any younger and my daughter is rapidly outrunning me.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So that's, I think like any of us, I just want to focus on that a little bit more, make sure that I am young and healthy into my, as I age.
Well, I'm 2 years away from 40 and I can still outrun my 9-year-old. which I am so proud of. But she's more flexible than me, like, by far. So, like, you know, pros and cons to everything. So she can do the splits anywhere. I can't. But I can outrun her, so she can't run from me. She can't run.
That's great. No, my kids could definitely run away from me, but I do yoga, so I could probably outbend them. But that's it.
See, there you go. Like, yin and yang, right?
Exactly. I've got my own talents, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Well, your husband would like that. Okay. What is your greatest fear and how do you deal with it?
I guess probably like any mom, I think my greatest fear is that something happens to the kids.
Yeah, I know.
Totally. Or my husband, I recently said, I think we need more insurance. And I think he got a little bit nervous.
I'm in the middle of getting all of our insurances up to date and mine are done. But,
well done.
Yeah, mine are done because I'm pretty good at that stuff. But my other half, God bless him, I love him to bits. But I need him to be insured, like I'm insured. So then
he's not insured yet.
He's partly insured. He's got a bit. But, you know, I said until we're self-insured, we need to up it a little bit. So yeah. But
yeah, we're the same. We're just in the process of doing. I mean, we have insurance, but once you start getting kids and getting a house and getting a mortgage and all of these things, and you look at your life and you think, oh crap, if he died, this is the situation. And you have to, as your life grows, the insurance needs to grow.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we have
kids, so it's partially that, and but I guess in the business side of things.
Sorry, I just looked at your answer. Continue on.
Are you talking about my writing world?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the writing world, actually just writing, I have this terrible fear of hyphens. I hate hyphenating. I never know if it's right. You know, like, is it 10-year-old boy? Do you hyphen everything? Do you just hyphen between the 10 and the year? I don't know. Nobody knows, and who cares? But
what is the right way though? Do you actually know?
Yeah, it is hyphen everything between 10-year-old boy. But if you were writing a boy who is 10 years old, you do not hyphen then.
Oh,
I don't know. Something about adjectives and, you know.
I'm circling that one. I'm going to underline it.
I mean, I probably have to look that up every other day. I think about it and I go, right, this time I'm going to remember. And then like a week later, I'm like, I can't remember. So I look it up again. So it's just one of those things. I've got a blank spot for it. But I guess as a copywriter, you really have to get it right. So I just look it up every time.
Every time. Okay, I've got 3 quick questions and then I can let you get on with your day. Question number 1, what websites have you signed up to recently that you find value in their emails?
This is probably not the answer you're looking for, but mine would be the California Secretary of State, because they are excellent at always reminding me when it's time to vote. I'll always be a citizen of America and California, but I'm not actually a citizen here yet. So I'm a permanent resident. So I continue to vote in America. It's really the only place I can. And, you know, I want to be able to complain about Trump, whatever. So I like to vote.
I was actually, just a little bit of a side note, I was talking to some mums and dads in the school ground, and they were telling me if you go for your green card in the States and go and work over there, even if it's for a year, and come back here, you still have to pay taxes in the States for 10 years because you've got a green card. But if you get a visa, like an Aussie visa, which is a J1, I think, can't remember, you only pay tax when you earn the money over there. So anyone looking to move over there, just really look into that. So I was so surprised. I was like, what?
No, I will have to pay taxes in America until I die, even if I don't earn money there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There's a lot of good things about America. That is not one of them. So,
yeah. Pay tax will actually give you nothing for it.
Yeah. I think they think they'll give you some Social Security or something, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, it's probably a lot more paperwork.
Exactly.
What's one piece of advice you would give your pre-baby self?
I think I read. Well, I recently found a picture of myself. I think I took it with a handheld camera back in university days, but it was like the original selfie, in the mirror with a handheld camera. And I was wearing this tiny mini skirt and this little top. And I remember thinking, I did not go out in that outfit because I would have looked at it and been like, oh, it's too fat for you. You look slutty, fat or whatever. And now I wish I could go back to her and be like, wear the outfit, just wear it. Because someday you really have to start giving up the mini skirts. Not yet, I'm sure, not yet. But, and I just think body confidence is such an important thing. And especially now that I've had a daughter, I just think the more body confidence you have, the better. And so I wish I could just shake her and be like, you look amazing. Your body is banging. Just get out there.
It's funny though, because the youth get everything, but the elderly appreciate it more. We should all be Benjamin Buttons. We'll just age backwards. That would be awesome.
My husband has a friend who always says that you should get paid the max amount that you're ever going to earn when you're first out of university, and then it should decrease as you get older. And so you can drive the Lamborghini when you're young and travel the world when you're young, and then when you're old, you can drive the Hyundai and live in a unit.
Oh my goodness. Okay, final question. What is the most useful or useless baby item you have?
I'm sure you've heard this before, but my most useful is my boobs, of course. My baby all my babies loved to breastfeed, and it was just a great comfort. And of course, the most useless is man boobs, because they cannot get up in the night and settle your child with their useless breasts. But also, I think all of those sort of bouncer swingy things were really helpful when they were little. Someplace you could stick them that kept them occupied.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Those little playpens were good too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were excellent. Yeah.
Well, excellent. Thank you so much, Kristen, for being on the Busy Mum podcast. It's been a pleasure to speak with you this afternoon.
The pleasure has been all mine. I've enjoyed it very much.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Busy Mum podcast. Don't forget to let your friends know, and also subscribe to the iTunes channel. And also my socials if you want to see what I'm getting up to. A brand new episode is out every Monday morning, just like clockwork.